ghost of us. Naming my mouth cuts too much. Half a thought and it folds in two, like a bruise leaves a mark on you. Don't hurt in my shaking hand. Know something I don't understand. Like ghosting at the edge of me. Something there that I just can't see. You hear that too? Or is it just me? Downside out, downside out. I need to go where I don't belong. Downside out, downside out. I need to go where it feels so It's the same sad song, empty space that was here all along. Every step is a borrowed shape, every second a vain escape. Laughter crying out for sin, summer stealing the autumn wind. There's a face that I almost know through a window where I won't go. If you're there, don't let me see.
Check. All right. About ready to go. Yeah, that's right. All right. Mic is good. YouTube, Twitch, Substack. Oh, Insta. Is Insta up? Hold on.
Now it moves in the things I do in my hands and the way I speak.
There we go. Instagram is live. All right. I got it all together. That's what's up. I mean, I'm not counting my chickens before they're hatched.
So just nod your head. If I reach, do you disappear? Can find you whenever here. Don't touch the door. Don't touch the door. If it opens, there's so much
What's up? Hit the like, share the show. Welcome everybody. Come on now. We got a lot to cover today, and we're never going to get through any of it. Like, it's just so maddeningly stupid, all of it. Normally, welcome, by the way, hit the like, share the show, annoy the maggot in your life by making them aware that the show is here. Although I got to say, increasingly, they are aware. My fan base is growing immeasurably along the maggot curious, the sanity curious maggots, we'll call them, where they all are like, well, I hate you, dude, but excellent point. I don't know. So hit the like, let them know we're up, because they're never going to hit the notification bell, and they're certainly not going to subscribe. Although they do a lot of great work for us promoting the show just by, I don't know, they're flailing. Let's just call it that. It's so hard to tell. What's up, Carl? Hi, everybody. Thank you. I'm very proud. It's so funny to me that when I try to sing with this mic on, apparently the high notes, because I have it on voice mode for the show, it does not register as voice. I think it sounds like truck brakes when I sing high notes. So that's why it cuts out. It's so funny. Anyways, if you want to see me sing high notes for real, next week I'm in Pittsburgh, Ohio, and Chicago in 3 days. Like, just zip, zip, zip. So the Friday night we're in Akron, in Ohio, and Wadsworth, And then, but it's a drive, come on down wherever you are in the general Ohio area. And then the night before that, we're in Pittsburgh on the 21st. And on the 23rd, we're in Chicago. And I couldn't be happier. What a way to just kind of like slide into home. No pun intended. So come check out the show, if you will, if you're in the area. I highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed. If I do say so my damn self. Why is this not showing? This little guy should be up. Boink. There we go. And if you want to help the show, there's a Venmo up in the corner. And you can always, support the show just by showing up. If you're a Patreon member, patreon.com/HalSparks, you can bring a guest to any of the shows. So you just let me know you're coming. And you'll be on my guest list. You and your guest is any of our Patreon paid, obviously Patreon folks can get in because I gotta cut the band in on it so that I'm not stealing money out of their mouths. But there you go. Thank you, Francie. I hope to be in all your neighborhoods. Look out, very very soon. But the primary one is where it was like this is our first time in Ohio. It's also our first time in Pittsburgh as a band, but I've been there. I might have to wear my Zoltan Pirates jersey. I think I'm gonna have to bring it with. I mean, I gotta. And then, of course, Chicago. We played there once before, but this is, obviously the Ohio one. I was born in Cincinnati. Raised in Kentucky though. My mom went to labor while she was visiting my grandmother in Cincinnati, so it was the nearest hospital without chickens in it. So that's why I was born there. But I was born in the same room as my mother when she was born, obviously, on her birthday, which became my birthday, which became our birthday, September 25th. And I was in room number 5 at Christ Hospital, in Cincinnati. And of course, yes, there was a comet. So I am special and get used to it. And I'm not saying that I live a blessed life, but if you cross me, lightning could happen. I'm not advocating it. It's just fair warning. Being mean to me is like kicking a gypsy down a flight of stairs. It's it's not a good idea. It will come back to haunt you, maybe literally. We don't know. So, all right, let's go. So much to cover. Now, normally I would jump right in and kind of introduce you to this week's maggot flailing in the news. But one of the things about Trump basically screwing up on all fronts, obviously the Epstein files are not going to continue to come out with any help from him or his DOJ. So they're going to have to be pried out of their cold dead hands, like Charlton Heston's rifle, I suppose. And what else? The economy, ass for regular people. Obviously, if you're a huge investor, you're killing it right now because the market has decided it doesn't give a shit anymore and it's just moving straight on. If you're in the oil business, the price of what you dredge out of the ground is up and the effort to do it isn't. So you're good, right? But if you drive a car that runs on gas, sorry, sucks to be you, right? That's Trump's attitude anyways. And then let's see what else. The Epstein, gas, groceries. Obviously, prices aren't going down in any major way, if at all. Also, concepts of a plan to end the Iran war, concepts of a plan to end Ukraine war. That just gibberish. So the one thing, what do maggots have to talk about? Like, what do you say if you back this pony the whole time? And for that, we'll go straight to the prime example, the most miserable man on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. It's Greg Kelly, the one cover story. Are we alone? Well, it's a deep and difficult question for all of humanity. It's something that poets, scientists, philosophers, and theologians have pondered since time immemorial. But when it comes to Greg, yes, Greg, you're alone. The rest of us might have kin in outer space that mated with apes and made all of us or something like that. But you specifically are very much by yourself. Also, this is a mess. The gray alien, which is not a really great representative of grays, this smattering of galaxies, the shadow of the astronauts on the moon with the thing that they may have seen up in the horizon, which is that box up there, and then a bunch of documents like the Mar-a-Lago raid, and all the documents that Trump kept laying about. This is shit. No wonder you look confused, Greg. So Trump did this idiotic release, which I downloaded, of course, because I'm like that. And Greg Kelly, do the UFO files actually mean anything? They gave him 4 minutes and 34 seconds to decide. That's how long this clip is. Mercifully short, as all the Greg Kelly clips are, because everyone at Newsmax knows that his watch minutes die off after 2 minutes. This is maybe there's some stragglers. I'm sure he's got some blue hair fans, with his whatever this big boy meets televangelist hairdo, right? It's gotta. Okay, so here you go. This is, do the UFO files actually mean anything? And I will tell you, hang in there to the end of this clip, because I'm going to show you how much they mean to me with a little bit of what I would call UFO tofu theater. That's all I'm going to say up front. You got to hang out.
So what do you think? Are there alien life forms visiting Earth from some faraway galaxy?
Well, they're not visiting from a nearby galaxy. All galaxies are far away, dummy.
Personally, I don't.
All right, what was that noise that came out of his throat, right as he throat burped right at that? Listen.
Earth from some faraway galaxy.
The little phlegm burp at the end of the. It's Greg's first hairball, everybody.
Alien life forms visiting Earth from some faraway galaxy. Personally,
Gross.
I don't think so. I think they're
Personally, well, all right, that settles it. Greg Kelly calls bullshit.
There are man-made phenomena, top secret stuff going on that we don't know about, that's been misinterpreted as extraterrestrial alien stuff.
Okay, so all the way, we have had the ability to have wingless flying vehicles since the 50s, but it's been a big secret because the government doesn't want to unveil to us that they beat gravity a long time ago. And all this using rockets to get off the planet has been an attempt to sell solid rocket fuel. They're trapped by big solid booster fuel.
But who knows?
Okay, Greg, don't eat right before the show, man. For fuck's sake. I think we could actually back that up, man. Hold on. Did you? This is not going well. Hold on. Here we go.
Top secret stuff going on that we don't know about that's been misinterpreted as extraterrestrial alien stuff. But who knows? And President Trump just took a giant.
But who knows? He's turning into Smales from Caddyshack right before our very eyes.
Step forward, a giant leap forward to finally clearing all this stuff up about the UFOs. Excuse me.
But do not throw up on your notes. You already don't know what's going on. What is the hell? What is happening? I think the aliens are fucking with him. This is like the scene in Disclosure where the newscaster lady starts going, speaking in alien language. They got you, Greg. You're a lizard person, and yeah.
Leap forward to finally clearing all this stuff up about the UFOs. Excuse me. Whereas previous
about the UFOs
administrations have failed to be
I don't know what's wrong with them.
Transparent on this subject. With these new
besides the usual shit that's wrong with them.
Documents and videos, the people can decide for themselves what the hell is going on. Have fun and enjoy President Donald J. Trump. So going back about 80 plus years, all kinds of files from the Pentagon, from all over the government.
No, not really. largely publicly available shit, and mostly letters written by lunatics. I'll get to those in just one moment. I gotta say, the Epstein files have been a lesson in grotesque depravity and are difficult to look at even in the silliest parts of them. And the sort of harmless diversionary shit that's in there to draw your attention away from the awful. But there's some magic in the UFO files that I don't think any of you, unless you've gone through them like I have, you don't know what you're missing. Greg does, of course. Friends, family, a life.
Have been made accessible to every person in America if they want.
And it's on the internet, dickhead. Everyone in the world.
And it's pretty wild. I've gone on the website. I'm going through it. It's pretty fascinating. These documents are extensive and they are secret, formally secret. You guys want to take a look at my files over here?
Yeah. Show us the cool stuff.
Got them. Confidential and secret, and then all these like 1948, and it goes on and on. Most of them,
all the shit that's in Project Blue Book and the stuff that's been released before, stupid,
are like reports of FBI's of UFO sightings, usually by law enforcement. That's what I've seen so far.
No, they aren't.
And they're taking this stuff very, very seriously.
No, they're not. They're people talking to law enforcement and law enforcement writing down what a lot of people are saying.
Aren't screwing around.
And there's some stuff from military and law enforcement people that's in there, but it's by and large stuff that we've already seen before.
And all the reports,
like anybody with a fucking Netflix subscription who's watched Ancient Aliens has seen most of this.
Seem very, very credible. It's not like some yokel just called it in. I saw something funny. I mean, not to say that guy didn't see something funny, but this is like all government stuff.
It is not all government stuff.
It's very interesting, and
it's very interesting.
They also,
but it's not interesting for the reason you think it's interesting.
Released some new videos that I have not seen before. Some I have, but actually, have you seen this one? Look at that little orb. You see that orb?
Yeah, it's going on a slalom through what looks like, apparently, while these things can kill birds and give whales cancer, they cannot stop a UFO. So, swings and roundabouts. Every cloud has a silver lining.
Orb flying in the windmills there. This was in 2024, somewhere in the Indo-Pacific. Now, what is that thing? Is it a drone? Maybe.
Let me guess. So, the footage will be in a documentary about wind later on.
But for whatever reason, they don't think so. I could be a drone. You never know. But it's going very, very fast. We don't know of drones that
it's a very fast drone.
Travel quite that fast.
Yes, we do.
It's also pretty cool with what is that, fog or cloud cover?
Something like that. Yeah. Fog or cloud cover.
Anyway.
I'm going to go with fog / cloud cover. No, I'm going to go with cloud cover / fog.
This is one of the videos. You can check it out. We also have this. This is 2013 in the Middle East. Now, this one is something to see. Drop that banner if you would, please.
Yeah, stupid banner. We
kind of looks like a Christmas ornament.
Orient are.
And it's kind of moving in and out. Let's watch this for a moment.
I'm not going to watch you watch a video of something moving in and out, you sick bastard.
Leaving some sort of, is that a...
skywriting? It drew this in the air, Greg, and it was aimed at you.
Exhaust? We don't know.
It's asking the pilot to marry him.
Although, you know what's going to happen now? It's crowdsourced, meaning a couple of 100 million people are going to go through this stuff, and working at the same time, we can do a hell of a lot more than like 8 scientists at Fort Meade.
Oh, can we?
Maryland.
We can? Are you joining the resistance against the aliens?
So we may be learning a lot over the next couple.
Mr. President, I'm pilot.
Days, even the next couple.
Sit down, Greg.
Couple of hours. Let's see another one. This is 2022 over the Middle East. Did you see that thing?
Yes, I did. And nothing missile-shaped ever flies swiftly over the Middle East.
What was it? Do it again, please. Another one. Looked like a missile or something, but there it goes.
Yeah, it looks like a missile. Yeah. I would say it looks like a missile.
Middle East missiles, they kind of go together. Let's get a closer look at what this thing was that just went by.
Let me guess, a black line in the sky that is creating a wake behind it in the air. Yeah, it looks like a missile.
Some sort of projectile, right?
Very possibly, sure.
Did that come from another planet, another galaxy? I don't think so.
Yeah, he's not buying it, ladies and gentlemen.
But hey, let's look at some more. They put out lots of this stuff. Now, that's peculiar. Skimming the waves. Again, a little orb. There's no kind of mechanism for that thing to be moving like that. What is it?
It looks like that little like surf rocket that rich dipshits ride in the Bahamas. You know, the one that has the water out of the bottom of it, and you can create kind of a water spout rocket. All right.
Who made it? Why is it going so fast? How does it fly? Nobody knows. Although maybe our government knows, you know? Area.
Not ours, obviously. This is highly advanced technology, Greg. According to you, this is stuff. I mean, do you think Donald Trump would hide technology like that from the American people?
Area 51 and that kind of thing. That is where they develop all kinds of classified weapons.
All right, they cut him off there. Obviously, they don't want you to know what's really going on. And they are hiding it from us by letting Greg Kelly talk about it. Now, let me go to the site itself, and I want to show you guys. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Files released. There you go. Here we go. So get out of here. Accept all. Go away. This is the thing. Remain classified part of the areas. The Department of War. This is the site. Now, one of the things you might not know if you go to this site is they designed it using like I'm guessing Codex or Claude. They're just going crazy with they're like vibe coding a UFO site. And up here, I think let's see, there's a let's see, scroll this down. I'm gonna move this down for you. It's longitude and latitude. It's the Pentagon. It's actually not even the Pentagon. It's a Popeye's chicken, I think, in the middle of the Pentagon, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. Let's see. Give me 1 second. I'll show you. You add. Okay, enter that. Put in the coordinates. There it is. That's right. If you enter in the coordinates on the UFO site, it brings you to a Popeyes. Learned my chicken from Popeyes, saith the aliens. Apparently, we were worried that they were eating human milkshakes. That was the big fear for a long time. But nope, it's a Popeyes. It's a Popeyes chicken right in the middle of the Pentagon. Also, the Pentagon has a Popeyes chicken. So that's weird. What is it? How does that make you feel about eating a Popeyes chicken now? You think that's chicken you're eating? You think that's chicken you're eating? Look which edge it is in the. Are you? Yes. So if you go to the coordinates at the top right corner of the DOJ's Department of War's UFO site at war.gov/UFOs, the coordinates given to you are of a Popeye's chicken next door to the Pentagon, which clearly has a basement that goes down into some chute that takes you all the way through a maglev boring tunnel thing straight to Wright-Patterson Air Force base. And it's the technology is designed on the exact same technology of how Popeyes works its way through your digestive system. Boom. Anyways, all right. So they have up here, there's an intro and then there's about. There's the about. Okay. It is the cleared for release. And then there's download all PDFs and IMGs, and then download all the videos. Okay, so first we'll look at the download allow. Okay, then open this thing up, and because I have it on my other computer, so give it a second. And then this download all vid thing, super sweet. Yeah, we're going to download that as well. So we'll give that a second to cook. And in this, you'll see if you can search the records and go through it, and they've created it to look like all fancy, like tweet, 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 like a fucking UFO nerds Wix page. It's just so lazy and stupid. I hate it. I hate it. It makes me mad how much I hate it. Because they're like, these assholes need to try harder. So, there it is. Downloads. There we go. UAP videos in here. There it is. All right. So the whole thing is in this folder. And there's the biggest one is this guy right here. Open this sucker up. And this might be so the biggest one is the one he was just showing, which is the black and white drone trying to make Trump feel like an asshole because they like wind power on Mars. So it goes down and it circles back around and it does a lap. This is, by the way, why they think it's not just a drone, because it goes over this way and then there's a speed arc where it kind of changes direction in a way that would snap somebody's neck. Yeah, see it right there. That's it. And it's zipping back and forth. That's what makes it special. You know, if it's not a drone and it'd have to be very large to create that, it's zipping around like that, right? Okay, so if there was a person in it, it would break their back, is the idea. But that's not the part that, of course, Greg Kelly fixates on, because he plays this part because he's a dipshit. All right, now, before I get into more of the video, and it's a joy, here it is, release number 1. Let's see, volume 1, general. Open up, you silly thing. Here we go. So, this is what he was showing by and large. Okay, let me go back to here. Volume 2. This is the other stuff. Yeah. Confirmation of number 3. There we go. So there's a lot of this stuff. Here, I'll show you. These are the documents you're going to see a bunch of. AMC opinion concerning flying disc. So this is just their opinion reported as something real and not visionary or fictitious. There are objects probably approximating the shape of a disc or such appreciable size as to appear to be as large as a man-made aircraft. There is a possibility that some of the incidents may be caused by natural phenomena such as meteors, report operation characteristics, blah, blah, blah. So it's a generalized overview of the thing that people are sending in and their response to the letters written to people. So people send in letters like, I seen it. It landed on my front porch, and it snatched up my cousin, and it put a probe in his buttocks, and now he dances for a living. They go, it's basically all the paperwork around that stuff. So, do they think it's real? Okay. So there is, where are you silly thing? I wanted to open up, here you go. This is the box of summaries. Yeah. So there are a bunch of these that, here's the one that he was looking through. So this is the incident summaries thing that he was just wagging through. So I think he likes these because the pages look like they're glow in the dark or some shit, right? That's why he looked at this. Like there was an evening, Lake City, Seattle, Washington. This guy, Frank Ryman, he was a Coast Guardman, saw one object, distance, they don't know. He saw it for 10 minutes. He doesn't know the altitude, doesn't know the speed. Over north of Lake Washington, saw a horizontal flight, no sound, no size, the color was white. It was a saucer or ball-shaped. Okay, let's just say you have testicles. And one of them is ball-shaped and the other is shaped like a saucer. Would you not be somewhat concerned about the difference? It kind of matters. Okay, anyways, so they go through, these are just these kind of, what you saw and why you saw it, incident reports. These don't go into the details at all. That's just what they do. All right. So there is, let's see, box 7, box 1. Let's see, the biggest one. Get back up here, you silly thing. Okay. So the section 6, I think is yeah. Yeah, here you go. So there's a bunch of these. Screw this down. And I've got to straighten this out. There you go. Because these are, these are old documents. So here you go. Boink. This guy right here. And you got to love the font on these things, folks. This is impressive. And that everybody who's read it has signed off on seeing it. So there's this old kind of way that they used to handle this stuff. Malad or whatever, these kind of things. Yeah, Dr. Paz submitted an analysis of various observations. These other people look at them. Director Special, there's attached here to your consideration, attention, copy of self-explanatory letter dated August 29th, 1950. So there's a letter attached from this, and there's a memorandum about the letter that's attached, and some of this stuff is like, we can't read that, asshole. Or it's the other side of the paper, and it got bled through. So U.S. Air Force is doing this stuff, is these kind of things. And there's where's the lady? So there was one, flying saucers. There you go. Sackville at Flying Disc reported in Philadelphia during the late evening hours of September 26, 1950. 2 Philadelphia police officers observed a peculiar phenomenon on Bear Boulevard near 26th Street when they saw a round object about 6 feet in circumference slowly float down to the ground. The object had the appearance of a parachute, landed in a field. It being so light, it did not even depress the weeds in the field. The object was lavender in color, described by the officers as dewy, sort of like soap suds, and evaporated within 15 or 20 minutes after it landed. I had no idea that that the alien showed up for a suds party. It's all right, they're just here to have a good time. I don't know what that neighborhood was like in 1950, but it's entirely possible that this was just drift from a local suds party. The matter was reported to this office by the Philadelphia police, and for that matter, was subsequently carried in the Philadelphia press as "Flying Saucer Just Dissolves." Now, there's a here you go. This is my thing on the flying saucers is it gets its power from electricity generated by a generator. The generator is run from a revolving disc, therefore giving the flying saucers a disc-like appearance. Well, sure. Yeah. By the use of gears, the revolving disc is able to generate 10 or 20 times more power than is needed. The faster the disc goes, the more power. By use of the new lightweight electric motors, there is less weight and thus space taken. The revolving disc is in the side of a light shell. Forward motion of the ship allows the disc to revolve. Okay, this is just a note somebody wrote to them. Flying saucers. You are instructed to discreetly determine through appropriate, reliable sources of your office whether Frank Scully, author of the book, quote, below the flying saucers, unquote, is identical to the Frank Scully who has been actively engaged in communist activities since the late 1930s in the territory of your office. Hoover. Like, I don't give a shit this guy's talking to aliens, but if this son of a bitch is a communist, round his ass up. Okay, so sightings and all that kind of stuff and people and analysis, and then they talk a lot about the stuff that they saw or a picture of what they saw, and then it's full of stuff, but all this stuff has been out for years. Through one source or another, and in some ways there's some of it that I guess confirms the new stuff, right? Confirms the advances in these areas. Now, let's see. Is there there you go. Section 10. We open up this guy, the transfer call. download it thing, and it opens up here at war.gov. Yeah, here we go. So this is the Bureau is strictly investigating it. Here you go. This is it. A letter to J. Edgar Hoover. Here you go. Dear Sir, I am a member of NICAP and am very much interested in UFO, flying saucers. Several weeks ago, a fellow employee received a letter, business, from Arizona with a stamp on the back, see enclosed. Being interested in UFOs, I asked for the stamp and sent $3 for the 12 issues of AFSCA, American Federation for Study of something aerial, whatever. Having received and read my first issue, I feel it isn't just what it appears on the surface. I can't say just why, but with my limited idea of how communists operate, it strikes me it is backed by them. My reason for writing this is that I consider myself a true American. I am told my ancestors go back to a great-great-great-grandmother who was an Indian squaw, and I'm proud of it. If by writing for this AFSCA report, my name could be in any way be aligned with the Communist Party, I would like to know if there's any way I could get things straightened out. I may be all wrong about my interpretation of this report, but I'd like to be sure since I expect I will get at other issues as they come up. I will be 63 years old in a few days. My husband passed away 4/30/65. I have worked as a manager at Raines Department for the New Hampshire Insurance Company in Manchester, New Hampshire, 44 years this month. Yours very truly, Florence C. Dow. This is a big portion of this. It's like letters written like, by golly, and then there's magazine. This is the copy of the stuff that she received that she was concerned looked like commie propaganda. She was concerned that the communists were gonna control the minds of the American people by getting them hooked on UFO tales, drawing them away from their red-blooded American God. Swamp gas, still flying. You don't have to tell me. I was there. There we go. All right. Swamp gas. UFO sighted over wide section of district. Tracked by radar. 16s tell of chase by buzzing lighted UFOs. Deputy gets too close to saucer. Super sauce, listen to me. Super space world sought by Soviets. Super space world sought by Soviets. I'll have the soup. Area UFO buffs report skies clear of saucers. And then these are like letters written by the people who are, and then of course, space age songs written by Molly Thompson. There's Space Talk. The powers that will be, will tell us we're alone. That tell us that in space we are unique. On this little desert island we call Earth, the human race is just a kind of freak. When we send our envoys into space, there'll be a smile upon this planet's face. 'Cause, brother, right out there, I'm telling you, there's another human race. It's very true. They're a very, very peaceful crowd, for they just never go to war. And they cannot interfere. This is by universal law. The spaceman's message to us all is based on how to banish fear. And if we only understand, we'll find it. Heaven here. Well, it must. Okay. There's a cockeyed feeling in the world today that power politics is here to stay. But China, Russia, and the USA, boy, don't let them fool you. Taking a variation on the rhyme scheme there. I think that's very bold and artistic and wonderfully ridiculous and a little stupid. Here you go. Take a look at this world of ours, just one mud ball in the sea of stars. Fuck you, this is Earth, you jerk. Other planets have no color bars because they've got perspective. What? Sorry, they don't have television? Is that what you're saying? Maybe they went through their TV phase already, or maybe they don't know what they're missing. Yank said Rusky's putting men in space, but it's all a mad politician's race. One-upmanship is this year of grace. It makes you giggle. Aren't you glad this stuff was all released? I'm trying to tell you, this is the kind of stuff that we've been waiting for. All the unanswered questions about how hard or how easy it might be to rhyme the word giggle. Obviously wiggle and my shiggle, I guess, because you can, if you know, my It's a classified song. That's exactly right. I feel cheated as well. This so the new fireball raises an age-old question: do flying saucers exist? By staff reporter, the Wall Street Journal. Hold on, let's check in with the Wall Street Journal in December 13th, 1965, year of our Lord. They're back. The latest was cited a few nights ago by residents and pilots in the northern tier of the states in Canada. They described it as an orange fireball. The Air Force at first called it an unidentified flying object, but now thinks it was a meteor. Some other people call it a flying saucer. Several people say they saw a fireball land Thursday night. An 11-year-old boy in Lorain, Ohio, says he watched it drop into the woods near his home. My God, this is the exact same story I told my friends when Scott and Drew and I saw a UFO. I'm not shitting you. And I think I was 9. No, yeah, I was 9. A woman in Elyria, Ohio, 10 miles away, claims she saw it plunge into a vacant lot across the street from her home. Others say they saw it streak into Lake Michigan. Not a stitch of clothing on. Here he comes. Look at that. Look at that. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. That's why they call him the streak. All right. But I was too late. She'd already gotten a free shot. Scientists and police combed a 75-acre area near Pittsburgh after a woman there saw the object crash to earth, smoldering. Despite these witnesses and search efforts, however, the thing is yet to be found. In this regard, it is like all other unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, which are mysterious because they are seen but never found. Well, if they land, they're not flying anymore. They're unidentified landed objects. That would be a ULO. Whatever it turns out to be, meteor, satellite part, hoax, weather oddity, or man from Mars, it appeared in a banner year. It appeared in a banner year for such objects, which almost disappeared from public consciousnness following a rash of reports of flying saucers in the mid-50s. We've had more reports this year than in any year since 1957, when we had more than 1,000, says a spokesman for Project Blue Book, the Air Force program set up in 1948 to evaluate reports of this phenomena. And by the way, that's where a lot of these files came from. So, ELO, right. It was the Electric Light Orchestra on their first tour. And by the way, this is ubiquitous across maggot tree everywhere. You want to know how bad it is in maggot world? Trying to think, and you know, because we've seen a bunch of maggots show up in the chat room lately, and they've had a real hell of a time. Like, they can't, like I said earlier, they can't exactly like go hang out in pro-Trump chat rooms and cheer on all the shit he's doing that he said he wouldn't do, and all the stuff he said he would fix that he's actually made worse. So of course they got to show up in our chat room. Where else are they going to go? So, how bad? It's this bad. Watch this. Nope. There we go. Yikes. First of all, I think both of their foreheads are proof that aliens exist. If you squint, they look like a couple of grays that are asking directions. Is there proof aliens exist? Miguel Sancho and Bill O'Reilly together again. All the girls I've loved before, who've traveled in and out of my door. Right.
There is a poll from YouGov. First question: how likely do you think it is that aliens have visited Earth in recent years?
Define recent.
Definitely have, probably have 47. Definitely have not. Probably have not 37, not sure 16. Okay, and then there's a News Nation poll.
Great. I'm glad they're on it. News Nation, finally.
Do you believe the U.S. government is hiding information about the existence of UFOs? This is a social media dream, this question. Yes, the government's hiding information.
Wait a minute. Why are you going to lay it off on fucking social media? The report they just dropped had shit tons of news stories for years about the same stuff.
No, 28%. Not sure, 28%. Both Presidents Trump and Obama have been asked about this. Roll it.
I did have one very brief meeting on it, but people are saying this.
I have one question. Who's the woman sitting at your desk over there? in the other room.
Seeing UFOs. Do I believe it? Not particularly.
Do you think you'd know?
Also, I'm not sure that the top of your head isn't a UFO. That looks stapled on. What in the ever-loving hell? This is first term, by the way. What is that? I'm not sure I want to believe. We saw this thing. It was unidentifiable. It didn't look like anything human beings could possibly create. It moved in a way that was would be devastating if it was on a human, and it remained completely still in a way that even hairspray couldn't hold in place. I don't know if I believe in it.
Know if there were evidence of extraterrestrials?
Well, I think our great pilots would know. And some of them really see things that are a little bit different than in the past. So we're going to
see things that were a little bit different than in the past. You know what? It's reassuring to know that he isn't totally losing his mind right now, that he was always losing his mind and talked like a fifth grader who'd been beaten into a near coma with a dictionary and therefore had an aversion to having a good vocabulary.
But we'll watch it. You'll be the first to know.
Are aliens real?
He was, by the way, George Stephanopoulos was not the first to know. Just saying they're real.
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51?
Area 51.
Well, they haven't been there for Obama. We know better than this. It's Wright-Patterson. And then, of course, they moved him to the big base in Queensland, Australia, away from everybody else. We know this.
There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the President of the United States.
Okay. So both presidents, I don't know why Obama said there is.
Because he's talking statistically, you dumbass. That it's mathematically impossible that we're the only life in the universe. Shithead. He didn't say they're here. He said they're not here in Area. I've never seen them, and they're not at Area 51. That's for goddamn sure. He can't know an unknown on the rest of the planet. But statistically speaking, it's absurd that there isn't life in the universe beyond our planet. Dummy. That just doesn't. And that's alien life to planet Earth. That doesn't mean it's gonna get here anytime soon.
Based on what? If you were a professional interviewer, you would say, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa."
The guy who he was talking to was a professional interviewer, in that regard. And also the whoa, 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 whoa. Then what's your follow up, Bill?
Okay,
because I got a follow up for you, which of course is, what the fuck do you have to do to somebody to where they can blackmail you for $33 million? Or that you have to pay them $33 million to keep quiet? What terrible shit could you do that would cost you more than $1 million, much less 33?
You just said they're real. What does that mean?
Means they exist within the realm of possibility in a non-negotiable, logical circumstance. They mathematically exist, period. Have they been here? Nobody knows, unless they're hiding from the president. Now, I think the Wright-Patterson dodge, that's what you go after. You go, whoa, 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 whoa. So they are at Wright-Patterson. But
Okay.
So
we're not getting anything, let's put it that way, out of the two most recent presidents. Which brings us to a new book called Evidence of the Extraordinary, Discoveries from the Series The Proof is Out There.
Proof is out there. A book clearly you have not even opened. You haven't read the fucking dust jacket. And by the way, that's it. What the part you just read it's right there. It's I don't know if it's a subtitle, but it's the all right.
All right. It's written by a guy I know pretty well, Miguel Sancho. He is a News Nation producer now. He did the San Francisco thing for us.
He did the San Francisco thing for us? Well, that sounds fun. No, that's not what you meant. I thought somebody had to do it for News Nation. Maybe the guy went and did the San Francisco. You know what? Maybe he was just in charge of making the rice-a-roni. That is always the other option for San Francisco, I suppose.
He was a producer on that project. All right. He's worked for Inside Edition. I started Inside Edition.
Right. That's where you yelled, "We'll do it live."
He's worked for CBS News, on and on and on. Very, very senior guy.
Very senior.
All right, so the book is out this week. And I was reading a book last night. I wanted to get
No, I wasn't.
spooky.
What the hell?
Environment to read this book. And I made sure that I had all the security so Yeti couldn't break into my garage.
What the hell?
But I'm reading a chapter on UFOs. And this Mexican pilot, Delgado, all right, he's flying a FedEx plane from northern Mexico into the U.S.
Hold on. I don't know if my headphones are dropping out or the video is.
And he and his crew are escorted on their flight up in the air by a red spaceship or something. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well,
You read it. Did the words not make it into your brain?
Bill, thank you for
Or what's left of it?
having me. Thank you to your audience for listening in. And I encourage everybody to read my book or any book in the garage at night. I think that's a wonderful recipe for a great reading experience. I will say this. Yes. I mean, I went into this field as, a hard news journalist with a background in investigative and consumer reporting.
Yeah, but I mean, Inside Edition, like, simmer down. This is like one step above PM Magazine. Sorry, I misspoke. One step below.
And it was somewhat serendipitous that I started working with this program. And the first kind of aha moment for me was this conversation I had with Captain Delgado. This was back in 2020. And so he had this video that he'd shot when he was on this flight, and this very peculiar orb appeared off the port side of his
Well, that sounds pretty judgmental.
aircraft. I believe it was a 767, one of the FedEx cargo planes. And he claims it followed them and tracked them for about 20 minutes and at times hit them with a kind of a lighthouse-like beam. And the craziest thing about it wasn't just the account. And he shot some cell phone video of it, which is good, not great. It's what you'd expect, kind of a white dot against the black sky. But the most
Just rude. You think he'd better get a better phone if you're going to be in the air.
fascinating part of the story and the fascinating part of the video is when he pans over to the console, and you can see that the TCAS system, the collision avoidance system, is not detecting any other aircraft in the area. And subsequent investigation also confirmed that the radar hadn't detected any aircraft in the area.
So clearly, it was a space squid flying at low altitude, and there was a man on the wing of the plane.
We have a number of sources, instruments that we consider usually normally reliable in modern aviation, confirming this account. And the kind of eureka moment for me, or the epiphany for me, was
Bill is not convinced, and he doesn't see how there's any money to be made by knowing this. So what's the point?
okay, this stuff isn't just being reported by kooks in their basement with the tinfoil hats or out in the desert, looking at the sky with night vision goggles, but people we trust with multi-million-dollar aircraft, and people we trust with our lives, and people that we would normally consider extraordinarily responsible and honorable.
All right, I don't know about you, but I have never shipped myself via FedEx. I fly regular passenger planes. Back to our regularly scheduled lunacy.
And of course, Captain Delgado, who was kind enough to come on the show and tell his story, is just one of many people, some of them with extremely impressive backgrounds and high clearances in the U.S. military,
I still don't think Bill is going for it.
who've come forward and said not just that they've had a personal encounter, but they have a strong reason to believe that
If they ever sit down again, it will chafe.
yes, aliens exist. And further, that they've come here, that we've tracked them, that the US government has encountered them, and that there's an ongoing crash retrieval and reverse engineering program that continues to this day. And that's what people are hoping will be revealed when President Trump kind of dangles the promise of disclosure.
Yeah, that's not what happened at all. Yeah.
Whatever the federal government has, whatever documents they have on UFOs.
Well, he could use the diversion now, that's for sure. But I'm skeptical about this, as you know. So I don't really know what an orb is. What is it?
Would be a round light object that is either physical or metaphysical, depending on what context you're talking about. They have been spoken of in terms of both UFOs and, of course, and alien, interactions, and in spiritual settings, proof of the people on the afterlife. I happen to think that if a multi-dimensional being reaches into our three-dimensional space, we like seeing fingers coming into a fish tank, thinking they are separate, not knowing there's a hand on the other side. Might see a cross section, kind of think of like an MRI of them reaching through our space-time, and the orbs are actually just like a slice of different parts of them. And the reason that they move around the orbs is the same way that if somebody did an MRI of you and you were standing like this, the orb would seem to move as they went through the slices of your body as they move through our space-time. But I'm, what the fuck do I know? I'm just a scientist.
What is an orb? Is that just some round thing that shows up? And
yeah, that's what it is, Bill. Thanks. Well done.
Is it red? What is it? What's an orb?
That one was.
An orb, indeed. So yes, the UFO community has a whole classification system of every kind of type and design of UFO, similar that you might, have certain types of designs of automobiles. So of course you have the classic flying saucer that had its heyday in the 40s and 50s and has still kind of gone out of vogue since then.
So they're not saucers anymore, they're orbs now.
Yes. Orbs are much more frequent, and orbs, like the name kind of implies, they're simply kind of spherical, glowing orbs.
So they're up in the air and they're round.
Brilliant. I can see why this man has been in news for decades. Congratulations, America. You've just gotten dumber.
Things, and they have lights on them.
Sure, why not? Throw lights in.
And the video that Delgado shot doesn't show you much. Now, there are other crew members that could have shot video too.
Yeah, it's weird that they didn't.
On his flight. I haven't seen any video that would convince me of anything coming out of that plane. Yeah, there's some video, but nobody knows what it is. Certainly there's no alien looking out the window waving at Captain Delgado.
How do you know? Maybe the light overwhelmed the sensor on the phone. Also, I got to tell you, if you had technology that could bring you to Earth, you certainly could have cloaking technology or overwhelming radiative technology that would fuck up a photo lens, which, can perceive more than the visible light we see. So you could just overwhelm it with a non-visible light wave that, again, when we're looking at it, you can see something. When you film it, it's just a blob. Why wouldn't that make sense? That seems feasible technologically now.
So I think this might fall under the category of people believe what they want to believe. That you want to believe there's an alien force and they come down here for a snack or why. But I'm still way
out of your league. Stupid beyond measure. Gross.
Out there as far as being convinced is concerned. Something wrong with me? Don't answer that.
Strong.
But am I not doing my job?
Yeah.
What job would that be? We're still a little. Most of us are a little fuzzy on what exactly you fucking do.
Well, the truth is, so you'd said earlier in the broadcast quite perspicaciously that UFOs have come back. And the question is why? Well, we know. We can answer that. There's two main developments that have sparked what I term in the book the modern UFO renaissance. One is the emergence of these videos. And I don't just mean the Captain Delgado cell phone video, but these extraordinarily compelling military-grade videos with the telemetry and with the testimony of the pilots to back them up.
Then why wouldn't Obama and Trump cop to that? Why wouldn't they say, yeah, I mean, I saw this. It was one of our top
This is painful.
pilots, and they brought it in, and now I'm convinced there is some orb chasing people around.
Yeah, that sounds about it. That's the best description I've ever heard. Who needs the X-Files? This is fucking riveting.
Right, because there's still debate exactly what these videos are showing, right? The Pentagon, under pressure from what is now kind of this emerging UFO lobby, or this emerging UFO constituency, special interest group, is
UFO pack.
now working, or has established, I should say, an official investigative agency. It's called Arrow, the ultimate.
Which is the name of the construction company that built Space Mountain. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Is the name of the company that built Space Mountain. So, and also, those are the documents you need in your plane when you fly: airworthiness certificate, the registration, owner's manual, and the whatever the W.
Ultimate Anomaly Resolution Office, and they are here to investigate videos such as this. And many times they will try to at least come up with a prosaic explanation that what appears to be a UFO or an alien craft is in fact.
Which, by the way, they often will say ball lightning. And as a man with testicles, that phrase hurts me.
A sky lantern or an airplane going the other direction, or a drone that happened to be shot, or an artifact of the camera. Mm-hmm. But there are those that they cannot resolve.
No.
It's often the case that they say that that is a result of having insufficient data, which is a legitimate response. And they go further to say that they have never, to this day, come up with conclusive proof of alien technology or craft. And
yeah, that they would talk about.
You're right, Bill, that there's certain skepticism that is, I think, required.
Thank you, Boso. Madam Menez. By the way, subscribe, will you, folks? I mean, honestly.
When you're approaching this subject, because it's very easy to say, as President Obama did, aliens exist. Where does that come from? That comes from basically a scientific principle or scientific equation under the Drake equation.
Right.
Not to bore you with all the geek stuff, but statistically trying to establish what the odds are that we are alone in the universe. And as you can imagine, with the number of
but he should have been
planets, solar system.
That pinhead who was interviewing him should have stopped him right there and said, "Wait,
why? That no, it's it. You know that he just described you why he said it. Stupid."
And you would have done it, and I would have done it. You know, aliens are real. How do we know that? Turning 65.
Oh God, how do we know that? Well, we know that humans can't be the peak of intelligence in the universe because of you, Bill. Anyway, so you got two examples of how of precisely why. Hold on. Of precisely why Trump, and the people around him are doing everything they can to talk about anything but his presidency. And this might be why. Hit the like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Dweeb Alex Jones. You're familiar with Dweeb Alex Jones? He's a fellow who used to be, like Bill O'Reilly, used to be on Fox. And now he
I like wood.
Lives in a fake log cabin.
Deeper and longer.
And was apparently molested by a demon, and absolutely did not get into a sexual tussle with a trucker at a truck stop bathroom and tell his wife a story. That did not happen. For real. This is it happened exactly like he said. The scratches on his side and on his shoulder may be exactly where you would grip someone on the waist and on the shoulder if you were behind them and giving them the good old Peaky Blinders thrust. But, that's just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. And by the way, it's my second favorite religious story besides the Kirk Cameron banana story. Those two stories are my favorites right now. All right, so here we go. So, this is support for Trump just fell off a cliff.
You would think the people in charge of the country who are benefiting the most, the people like Bill Ackman who think it's been a really good war, would be very concerned about this, and they would not want to put any more economic pressure on this beleaguered population, and particularly on young.
Oh, yeah, sorry. You're under the impression that Trump gives a shit about the Republican Party or anybody afterwards, when instead of them just going, fuck it, we're feathering our nest, we're going to make our money and move outside of the domain of the United States and let it collapse. That's Trump's whole plan. You don't think he's going to be able to build more buildings in the United States, do you? You don't think anybody's going to stay in those fucking dumps? They're going to strip the name off him as soon as he's no longer president. I got news for you. So the only chance he's got is to build stuff in foreign countries, and so he doesn't care what happens here anymore.
Young people who seem to bear the brunt of it. Probably because they have the least political power, so nobody cares what they think. Healthy society would be totally focused on what young people think because they are building the society that will outlive the current leadership of that society.
Yeah, it's almost like you'd want school lunches and a good public education system and a child tax credit and support for parents, all that stuff that Democrats put forward. If you actually gave a shit about youngins, you'd have a plan like Harris had to build 3 million homes in her first term to increase the supply to lower the cost of owning a home in a very measurable way, instead of just bitching at the Fed.
That society, but they're ignored. So if you were thinking longitudinally, if you were thinking about what's best over time for your country,
yeah, you're assuming he is,
your civilization, you'd be focused on them and you would not casually add to their burden.
Oh, they're not doing it casually. He's bragging about it. Are you stupid?
But what we're watching is a kind of frenzy of carelessness, of thoughtlessness, of callousness toward people whose lives have not gotten better.
Sorry, you think this is new? You think Trump at some point actually gave a shit about middle class people, much less poor people?
Over the past 30 years, but gotten measurably worse in every category of measurement.
Right, but he doesn't care about those factors. They're just like angles to exploit.
And you hate to pile on, and you hate to take the president literally, because I've said many times, Trump is not meant to be taken literally.
Right, yeah, he's a liar.
Sort of like
that's the coward's way of him saying, well, that's not what he really meant.
Reading poetry.
Poetry. Refrigerator poetry if the fridge fell over.
Theme is what matters. The feeling it evokes is what matters. I've made that argument.
Yeah, and look where it got us.
And it's often true.
Sorry, I'm supposed to take this as poetry.
Namely the corona.
Bob Egg.
Sorry, we go. Where's our Trump one? Here you go.
Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your.
So that's poetry.
Action replays in magnified fortune.
I'm supposed to just take this figuratively. The words work in mysterious ways.
Free health care for illegal. Look.
Right. Exactly. There's he didn't mean this directly. He was just kind of, it's the theme that matters when he says,
we're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Thanks, Tuckums.
But at some point, particularly when you're talking about hard numbers, the prices of commodities, for example, in the middle of a war that is affecting those prices, it is worth paying attention to the president's own estimates of the costs of this voluntary war that he started at the demand of Israel. So here's the president, I think yesterday.
Also, again, he keeps doing this. Started this war voluntarily at the demand of Israel. Like Donald Trump has to do what Israel tells him to do. Well, why would that? What's the carrot? What's the stick? If there's a carrot big enough, then obviously he's got I haven't seen anything more than like a building, a FinSec, or a golf deal. The carrot's really fucking small. And if it's a stick, it's got to be Epstein stuff. And you backed a dude who could be blackmailed with that shit?
Yesterday, explaining his view on oil prices.
I also thought oil would go up to 200, 250, maybe 300. And I know it would be short term, but I thought it would go. I looked today, it's like at 102. And that's a very small price to pay for getting rid of a nuclear weapon from people that are really mentally deranged.
It's 100. I thought it was going to go to 200 or 300.
Right. And he says that because it already went to 100. It's going to go to 150 at some point because he's not leaving anytime soon. And so he's got to push the number that he thought it was going to be well outside the realm of what he thinks it's going to be until it reaches that number. And then he's got to keep pushing the number further and further. You asshole who helped make this happen.
Really? What would $200 a barrel oil mean? Well, we've never had it. We've never had and these are adjusted numbers. We've never had $200 a barrel Brent crude, period, in world history.
Yeah, we never had electric cars either. The biggest problem that he and his buddies have is demand destruction.
But what would happen if we did? Well, I don't know, $10 a gallon for unleaded at the pump?
As opposed to?
More for diesel? Much more for jet fuel? What would that mean? Well, it would mean inflation, possibly hyperinflation. What would $300 a barrel oil, which the
Why stop there?
president said he imagined we could have? What would that mean? Well, it's not even worth guessing because no one's even modeled it out. No one's even taken the time to write out the formula or guess as to what effect $300 a barrel oil would have on human civilization.
Well, obviously, it would be very devastating in the developing world. In the developed world, it would be the last straw towards electric vehicles of every sort, not just commuter cars, but any kind of passenger vehicle at all, buses, maybe natural gas for a little while because we have a lot of that because of shale and because of the natural gas explosion, and then everything but airplanes.
But you can be absolutely certain it would be the end of a lot of things that we take for granted. Certainly air travel, jobs. It would be a true disaster.
Well, it would be rural devastation first and foremost, because again, the people who have to travel the furthest for groceries and for work would be affected the most. People who live in the cities would be affected the least. It would push towards, almost like a moonshot level of public transportation in all the major cities immediately.
On the level of, I don't know, a national tsunami or hurricane, it would affect every person in the United States making less than $1 million a year. It would crush people. Already at $100 in the US, $100 oil, you just heard the president say it's 97, something like that.
He said 102. We watched the video. You played it.
People around the world are worrying about famine because, of course, oil is not just used to produce gasoline and jet fuel and asphalt and kerosene and all the familiar products. It's also used to produce fertilizer, all kinds of petrochemicals used in manufacturing, but fertilizer. And without it, crop yields go down.
Gee, now this whole Ukraine thing seems to matter a whole lot more.
And people starve in the most populated continent in the world, which would be sub-Saharan Africa. So already,
again, This sounds like Stephen Miller's plan.
You are seeing a massive human cost, not well reported in American media, to a relatively small spike in global oil prices. And here you have the president saying, I thought it could be $300. That's like saying, well, I thought they might drop a neutron bomb on Chicago, but, I was willing to risk it. No president should ever be willing to talk that casually about the economic destruction of his nation.
He always did. This isn't new, fuckwad. You know what? The most aggravating thing about this is not that like he's waking up in some way to this. Trump has always been this way. Sorry, you think the guy who said, I like my heroes, I like people who weren't captured, gives a shit about the military? Or you think the guy who said, I could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose any support, that what he's doing and saying now is somehow off the tracks?
The justification for it. It's worth it, said the president, because Iran had nuclear weapons, and you can't let crazy people have nuclear weapons. So it's almost not worth it. Rebutting that with the facts, which are as follows: Iran did not have a nuclear weapon. It did not have ICBMs to deliver that weapon here or anywhere near here. It did not have an active nuclear weapons program, and the American intelligence community, all 18 separate agencies, determined that conclusively after studying it for years, and with the motivation to find said nuclear program, they couldn't.
Hey, asshole, how about we just skip that part of it entirely? Because, again, that piece of ground has been worked and reworked multiple times. We know. He even said he destroyed it and he obliterated it last year. So it's absurd on its face. And how about go back to the fact that if Iran needed to be, confronted about this for 47 years and nobody else had the guts to do it, why didn't he run on it? Why did he run on being the peace president, no regime change, no more forever wars, no more Middle Eastern wars, no new wars, right? All that stuff. Why didn't he just go, but, no new wars, no forever wars, no regime change wars, but I am going to go in and fuck up Iran? Why not? Because he was lying about everything, not just this.
So no, Iran did not have a nuclear weapon. It was nowhere near getting a nuclear weapon, despite the lying you have often heard. That was not even...
Sorry, the line you've heard from where? You didn't hear it from Biden. You didn't hear it from Obama. You arguably didn't hear it from Bush, too, very much.
An imminent threat. It was not close to an imminent threat, despite the fact the Israelis had told us and the U.S. Congress for over 20 years that it was an imminent threat. That was a lie. But you have to ask yourself, even if...
Well, no, there's no such thing as a 20-year imminent threat. Just for the record.
If it was true, would that justify destroying the American economy? Would it justify, I don't know, driving 200,000 Britons into poverty in 2 months? And that's just the opening salvo. Would it justify a famine in Africa?
Well, you shouldn't have thrown that one in, because the answer in the White House to a famine in Africa is yes, please.
No one wants to say it. There are a lot of countries with nuclear weapons. You don't want any of them to have nuclear weapons because any normal person thinks nuclear weapons are bad because they are, by definition, weapons of mass destruction that kill innocents. So they are bad as a category. But there are a lot of countries that have them, including countries with, well, leaderships that are filled with religious extremists, like Israel and
right. That's the only way to go.
Pakistan,
right,
and in a way, North Korea. And the world has been able to continue for...
Sorry, not in a way, North Korea. North Korea, the one benefit that we have is that North Korea is not a religious state. The reward that Kim Jong-un and his family seek is on this planet, in this life. Same as Vladimir Putin. We're lucky these assholes are hedonists, that they just care about their own pleasure and comfort. If they thought their reward was on the other side of this mortal coil, this mortal veil, we'd be fucked. But they aren't. They don't believe that. It's just defensive so they can keep, Kim Jong-un can run his own Epstein Island.
For now almost 30 years with a nuclear on Pakistan. It's not ideal. Maybe we should have done something during the Clinton administration to stop it. But we haven't had...
Like what?
To destroy...
Like this, but Pakistan?
The American economy. in order to do something about it since then? Of course not. And in fact, the deeper truth is that there is a kind of stability, as bad as nuclear weapons are, when rival nations possess them.
Okay, so now Tucker's making the case for MAD in the Middle East.
India and Pakistan.
Look, I got to tell you, the one thing about Iran getting a nuclear weapon and Israel having them as well and coming out of the closet of having them is that the Middle East would be done. That the idea that anybody would want to, put money into oil going forward would be nuts. Like the biggest move the rest of the world could make is away from petroleum products for everything we possibly can, so that we're not leaving, like the world economy in the hands of somebody who might get in a dust up like this.
Which are countries with a long, almost 80-year history of hating each other and many wars in the interim, have managed to fight fairly bitter conflicts since 1947 without using nuclear weapons against each other. How is that possible? Well, the mutually assured destruction principle, which...
Right, but in the case of Russia, for example, they use that as an envelope under which they can attack anyone. If you try to fuck with them, they'll nuke you. And so they've been able to do a lot of horrible shit because of that line. They use it as a shield, not to protect everybody from war, but to allow them to commit any kind of warring acts they want because everybody's afraid to tip that card over.
Which, as ugly as it sounds, is real. It's absolutely real. What you don't want is a nation that feels no constraints whatsoever, that feels it can do whatever it wants. It feels it can roll into its neighbor's sovereign territory and expel the population and kill people. This is exactly, we thought, the lesson of World War II. That's bad.
Yeah, Trump totally disagrees and said so during the campaign.
But that's kind of what you get when you have a country that feels it has unconstrained power. It can do...
Oh, you mean like Russia?
Whatever it wants.
Right. Ukraine doesn't have nukes. So your argument is Ukraine should get nukes right away. And that Bill Clinton, while he was taking nukes away from Pakistan, should have given Ukraine their own nukes.
What does it tend to do? Well, whatever it wants. And so you could at least make the case academically, even if you disagreed with the whole idea of nuclear weapons and thought they were probably...
that Ukraine should have them.
Inherently evil. Even if you wondered where they came from in the first place, even if you had dark suspicions about the genesis of nuclear weapons, and some of us do, you could...
They were summoned by a demon.
Still make the case on a pragmatic basis.
Who, by the way, is a great piece of ass.
That, look at the effects. Look at the effects. They are less bad than this.
No, not so much.
So that's the explanation from the president.
Until they're used, I guess, is the idea.
You can see why an administration that had higher levels of support from young people a year and a half ago than any Republican in memory, young people came out for Donald Trump to vote for Donald Trump. Why did they do that? Because
they're stupid.
Dissatisfied with the system as it is.
No, because they're young and they're easily manipulated. That's one of the aspects of young voters anyways. If somebody happens to be manipulated by something that's good, we don't worry about it. But the manipulation is still the technique. It's still how you motivate them emotionally, psychologically, using fear or concern. And if you can weaponize that, then you can make them do basically whatever you want. And it's easier on younger voters.
They understand it is rigged against them, because it is. And they felt that here was one man strong enough to stand up against that system.
Right. And not the guy who passed an infrastructure act or the Chips and Science Act or the rescue package or the child tax credit or his running mate who was going to build more homes and continue to have policies that would have lowered inflation for them. Yeah. Let's be abundantly clear. Maybe they thought that, this group you're talking about, but they were fucking nuts to believe that. And the only thing that we can hope for is that in their maturation process, they will come to their senses and go, oh, okay, now I know what flim flam looks like.
They tried to put him in jail. They tried to impeach him twice. Here was a guy who understood what he was up against and would take it on and was...
No, he didn't. He cost the American taxpayer somewhere in the order of like 350 years of presidential salary going to his own fucking properties. There is nothing about his presidency that is aimed at helping young people get further with less.
And was brave enough to do that.
Brave? What the fuck are you talking about?
And a year and a half in, what they've seen is a guy who got in office and immediately took the side of the people who persecuted him.
Sorry, he's not. No. What side? You think these are Democrat policies? He didn't come in and take the side of the very people who were trying to put him in jail. This is what he was trying to do last time, and he just went further with it. The only thing that slowed him down was fucking COVID. He literally screwed that up so bad that it ate up the last year where he was going to, do the most egregious tax cuts, start this tariff nonsense.
For the preceding 8 years, he took their side and became their most valiant champion.
Also, I think he means Netanyahu or Israel or some shit.
And began to persecute their enemies, as he himself had once been persecuted.
My God, this is almost biblical in its allegory.
He switched teams.
Well, I mean, if anybody knows about switching teams, it's probably Tuckums. I'm just saying. I got to find a faster way to do. I have way too many sound effects to do these.
I like wood.
Right.
Deeper and longer.
Okay.
And they look at this, and they may not understand all of the details.
Nah, because they're young and stupid. You tell them. Tell them, Tuck.
But they look at...
By the way, you fell for it too, you dumb son of a bitch. You stood on stage with them. You can't shit on young people for voting the way they did with the limited information when you participated in the bullshit parade.
Look at this in horror, and they feel betrayed. And that is obvious from the polling numbers. And these are polling numbers that are so stark that you can't actually lie about them. You can't spin them.
Yeah, they can. They've been doing it all week. They've been doing it for months, really.
Trump's drop in support among voters under 30 is precipitous. It's off a cliff.
Gee, it's almost like the charts of the market manipulation he did by making up stories about Iran accepting the deal. And, buy low, sell high, I guess.
And there are a lot of reasons for this. The Iran war, the refusal to release the Epstein files.
The cost of groceries, the cost of gas, home ownership.
The mounting debt that most of them carry.
Fuck you. You were against the relief from student debt in the first place.
How's your average 27-year-old, 5 years out of college?
Like you give a shit.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt.
From what?
From this 4-year college that was supposed to make the difference between getting ahead and staying in your hometown and stagnating in some dead-end job.
Which, by the way, is a real thing. And I'd like to remind everybody, this asshole has never had a real job in his entire life. At all. Ever. Never wondered where the next paycheck was coming from. Not ever. Trust fund baby, even before he started working at Fox News. $1 million job at Fox News. So fuck off with this nonsense that you suddenly care about student debt.
That kid likely has a negative net worth 5 years out of college.
Most people do. All lawyers do. All doctors do. What the fuck are you talking about?
And in many cases, they're told point blank, we can't hire you because of how you look.
What? Oh, he means white people. Sorry. He means we can't hire you because you're white. You got a lot of debt and you're white.
How do you think kids like that feel about Donald Trump? Well, you should talk to some. So the older you get,
you should talk to some. I don't have to. Because I see them all the time. I don't have to seek them out to talk to them. Good Lord. Oh, yeah, we're zipping by. So support for Trump just fell off a cliff. He was relating that. Again, I don't pre-watch these videos, so you'll have to excuse me. But in that particular video, he's talking about youth. Don't even get him started on Latinos and like voters of color. Now, There's a guy on Peanut Butter Dickhead's show. This guy Robert Pape, who talks about this one. I'll show you the name of this video, and then we'll go to the other one because I've seen part of this one, and I don't want to cheat. But this guy Robert Pape is on Peanut Butter Dickhead's show, and there's apparently fireworks and a B-2 bomber that's flying really bizarrely low. Anyways, I think it's probably from a football game. Maybe that's where they got it. Robert Pape explains why punishing Iran will never make its leaders cave, how he helped shape Obama's Iran strategy, and why airstrikes on civilians. Now, this is how fucked up it's gotten in Peanut Butter Dickhead's world, because Pape was one of the guys who was pitching the mechanics of the JCPOA.
There's two things we experienced the last 4 years. Russia's going to attack Ukraine. Okay, Russia's going to destroy Ukraine. Yep. Didn't happen, right?
Right.
U.S., and Israel, they're going to attack Iran. Boom, it's going to be done because Venezuela, quick, we got Maduro, we're out. Oh, boom. Everything was so quick. Iran maybe going to be 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's not 2 to 4 weeks. So what is the app? Because you advised Ron Paul, you advised Obama, I think, in the 2008
campaign. And I just went to Ron Paul's just this weekend. I was at Ron Paul's conference down off about an hour outside of Houston, just literally 5 days ago.
Which is an embarrassment, but go ahead.
I had dinner at his house on Friday night.
Phenomenal.
He's 90 years old. He is firing the white heat. He stood up for 25 minutes on Friday night and gave a spectacular, no notes whatsoever. I mean, unbelievable, getting rounds of applause on Friday night. And then he did it again.
Right, because he says the same shit. He's been saying the same shit forever and in front of the same crowd. He might as well be up there yelling, "Get her done."
On Saturday at noon. I'm just telling you, you've been in the public eye. You stand up and give those speeches. I mean, oh my goodness gracious.
90.
He's
yawn.
90.
We had him on the podcast last year. I'm like, I cannot believe this guy's energy at this age. And he's been at it for a long time.
And
it's not energy. He's angry.
And he's just, I think, a bit like me, energized by the fact that this war is going the wrong way.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for showing a Google search of Ron Paul's face on your, just in case anybody was wondering.
And he just wants to do
Ron Paul, not Rand.
Everything he possibly can to try to get on a better track. That's really, I think, where's that energy?
And I want to talk to you about that. But it's important because you did help Obama, you did help Ron Paul, libertarian, Democrat, and then at the same time, you've advised presidents the last 20 years,
including
as well as
the Trump
first administration. Right. So I think
that was on Afghanistan.
Important qualifier for the audience to know. And although
what'd you tell him? Tell people you're going to get out and then not?
We're not negotiating on the deal with Obama with Iran. I read some places that you were advising. They were consulting.
Well, there's a whole story. So I'm glad to do this in the public. So in 2008, when I'm on the Obama primary team, I was on the Middle Eastern team because dying to win. Okay. But I had a good friend, Sean Kay, who was on the NATO team. So this is how it works in these primaries. You get carved up into different parts or different issues in the world. And I knew Sean for a long time, for decades. And so
this is there's an important point coming up, and then we'll switch over.
Called up Sean one night, and I said, Sean, the number one problem that Obama's going to face when he's elected is Iran getting a nuclear weapon. Now, this is 2008, February 2008. Most people are not. They're focusing on beating Hillary Clinton, okay? I'm just saying. And Sean and I agreed on that, and I said, Sean, I got an idea. If you're really going to get real
This is the key. This is remember Trump being the art of the deal guy. Listen to what it took.
Pressure on Iran. We need Russia. We need Russia. And I'm glad to explain why I said that.
Yeah.
But we need Russia. And Sean said, well, Bob, I'm on the NATO team. Russia hates our guts. How are we going to do that? And I said, I got an idea. We trade away national missile defense in Eastern Europe, which is basically a not very good system. And I think this would actually move Putin. And Sean said, I'll write the memo. He wrote the memo up the chain. That's what Obama did, 2010. So how did you get the JCPOA in 2015? This is not starting in the story of 2015. Now, it starts in 2008 and it starts in 2010. Wow. You need Russia, and not just Russia saying, well, I won't get involved. You need Russia to be part of the public coalition. Once you bring in the target's military allies, Patrick, now you got leverage and pressure.
Right, which Trump has none of. All right, so the other video from this, because this guy was on there for a little bit, that they posted is this one, which is Trump's presidency may be dead. Robert Pape's shocking Iran war prediction. Same guy talking about where Trump is in this. So
where are we bailing out Japan? So one thing we could do.
They just got 910,000.
No, let me give you a real policy. You want to get the,
2 or 3 days ago, I think a ship showed up from U.S. Rob, if you have that.
Let me give you an actual policy here, Patrick, to show. So
yeah, you don't understand. Peanut Butter Dickhead is not interested in actual policy.
Japan's economy is about to go into the toilet as a result of all this. Where's the bill going through Congress that we're going to backstop all the loss of Japan's economy over the next 2 years? We're going to backstop it with American cash coming out of Congress. Where is that, Patrick? You want to get Japan on your side? You've just caused them. You don't know how bad it's going to be. I'm not saying you give a certain number. I'm saying it's worse than that. We know the direction of where this is going for Japan. Why aren't we saying, if it costs $5 trillion to backstop you, Japan, here's a blank check. We caused the problem. We will backstop you. Where are we saying that to Western Europe? We're not. And so what are they hearing? They're just hearing, you want us to bail you out and take all your pain. They're not going to do it. We're not even, it's not just we're not admitting we're losing. This is much worse than that. When we're talking about these leaders, this is power politics of the first order here. And this would be like companies. This is like you're getting in a deal with a set of companies and the leading company makes a decision that the whole group goes down. Well, what would be the rest of them would want before they walk? Mm-hmm. Well, what if the leading company says, okay, it was my fault. I made a mistake. I'm going to backstop you for, say, a year. Okay? That would be like a business way to handle this. All right? Mm-hmm. Where is that? Nowhere. And that was why President Trump is getting nowhere. Now, I don't think you could see right away. Getting that through the the U.S. Congress right now, probably not happening. So this is...
Peanut Butter Dickhead is not enjoying this conversation, I would like to say for the record.
That's why we're in an escalation trap. I can give you solutions to get out of the trap.
Just tells me how much more leverage is on his side. Everything you keep saying, I'm thinking, okay, that even more leverage because we owe Japan what they bought a $1.1 trillion of our debt. I think they have more of our debt than China does. Right, so
well, they do. But if we Welsh, if we
1.24,
yeah,
right.
But if we Welsh on that, what that's going to do is increase interest rates for the next round of debt. So bring Scott Besson on, and you talk to him about whether we should Welsh on this for real. Get him to really.
Who's saying that they're planning on doing that?
No. I'm just telling you what will really happen.
But they're not even talking about that.
Well,
Okay, Peanut Butter Dickhead is too stupid to understand what this guy is saying. Essentially, the damage that's caused by Japan, the oil crisis that we're creating because of what we're doing in Iran, and our total disregard for the impact it'll have on other countries, especially like Japan and Europe, is why they're not interested in helping us at all, because they caused a problem that they're going to have to scramble to spend every dime they have protecting their own people and rebuilding their own economy. And the only way that they would ever back us is if we somehow gave them, better interest on the debt they've taken on in the case of Japan, plus, like he was saying, a backstop funds, basically bailing them out like we did in 2008 with the banks here in the United States.
Non-issue. Then we don't have leverage. If we can't Welch on their deal, we have no leverage over Japan.
If you...
There's no leverage there. They have leverage over us.
Did you see the ship that just came in, us bailing them out to get some oil that came in, 900,000 barrels that came from U.S. just 2 days ago, and how they're celebrating?
Yeah, pennies on the dollar. This is pennies on the dollar. There's no. I'm glad he's doing it. I'm not saying this is take it back.
This is almost forcing.
This is pennies on the dollar.
I get that, but this is forcing.
No, you don't get this. 900,000 barrels. It ain't shit.
A lot of these countries around the world to come in and say, hey, it's hi America, hi America. They're coming to us. So some may say,
well, the real
Also, no, they're not. They're coming to American and multinational oil conglomerates.
future here will be if we want the rest of the world to come, they won't come while Trump is a strong president because he caused the problem as they see it. You're hearing them say that here. By January here, that is, as we go to January, as the world suffers for this and this time, Trump's presidency may be completely dead by then. Now, it may not be. We don't know what's going to happen in the midterms.
How many people have been saying this, and the guy keeps winning.
No, I know. I hear it. No,
he's not winning. He isn't. It's like somebody crawling on the backs of other people who are drowning, and they're like, this guy just keeps succeeding because the people that are holding him up on their backs haven't given in. It's not because he's really winning, and he's certainly not helping the people he's standing on.
Insane.
I hear, and I went to Butler and I talked to. I spent all day with those, and I'm not telling you I have a.
There's a difference between being hopeful that he fails, which tens of millions are hoping he fails.
Yep.
And then there is the other part where.
No. There's a difference between hoping he fails and hoping that he destroys the country, and these assholes always want you to equate the two. PDB always wants to make it, or PBD always wants to make it. That if you're rooting against him, you're actually rooting against America. This has been like a talking point of Republicans forever. Now, it never stops them from rooting against Obama or Biden or Clinton or any Democrat or shitting on Jimmy Carter's memory or any of that kind of stuff. Like somehow, if you root against the president, you're rooting against America only applies when a Republican is in office. It also is a similar thing where the president doesn't create jobs or affect the stock market unless it's a Republican. And then once a Republican's in office, then it's sun shining out of Trump's ass that makes the stock market grow.
Where you're like, if it fails.
But I'm not going down that road exactly. Just bear with me. What I'm saying is from the perspective of whether these other countries will come and organize with the United States to push back on Iran with controlling the Strait of Hormuz. They're not going to do that as long as President Trump is a strong president. Now, if you're right...
They're not going to do that as long as President Trump is a strong president.
No, because he may stab them in the back again, just like I'm saying with the bully. The problem here is that what President Trump did...
By the way, the analogy to the bully is in the other clip. At the end of it, he talks about how, basically, the reason why Iran is dug in and they're not going to move is because they're viewing him like a bully. And if you give an inch, he'll take a mile. And they know this of him. So they're just going to dig in and try to wait him out.
You could say by not consulting, that's kind of a nice way to put it. But what he did is he took actions where the biggest losers economically were actually not going to be the American consumer. We will lose. The biggest losers are going to be in Europe. They're going to be in Asia. And so essentially... he played with other people's money and other people's lives.
They've been,
which is what he's always done.
Playing with our money for decades.
Well, go back to the numbers.
When we set up.
Also, by the way, they cut him off at that point, if you'll notice. Let me go back to the numbers. This is the edit where he stops and starts selling fucking shoes with his future looks bright tread in the heel so that I guess some weird murderous nutcase can leave that imprint on the grass at the Capitol in the future. Good Lord. But yeah, so PBD, when they're talking about the rest of this, he makes this point that Iran has to treat Trump like a bully. They cannot allow themselves to give in to him in any way because he won't honor it. Nobody trusts him. He tore up the last deal, so why would they expect him to honor this one? And one last thing before I go, we already looked at Tuckums, but we haven't seen 3 of 6 and 7s over here. This is okay. Can you imagine a maggot who's reached this point? I'm alone in my truck, man. Private property ownership will soon disappear for middle-class Americans. This is Chad, and he's on Truck Talk with a dog in the background and the door half open. It's hot out here, man. Okay, so apparently Trump is a communist now.
So I have a good friend and mentor who is a very successful chemist.
Right. I saw this episode of True Detective. He's the meth guy that supplies the people who leave the weird statues at the site of all the dead people.
He's come up with all sorts of chemicals, and they have patents on them, and he's made multi-millions of dollars over the course of his lifetime in this profession. And at one point in my life, when I started having a little extra money laying around, which was fairly recently, I was wondering what...
Well, now that's gone because I bought the biggest fucking truck I could find.
The world I'm supposed to do with this to be a responsible steward. So I asked him, I said, hey, why haven't you invested in real estate, rental properties, essentially? And he told me, he said, because I believe it's immoral. And it took me a long, long time to figure out what he meant by that. A lot of you as Americans, you've heard the phrase life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I think that...
Yeah, I read that. I think it was on the back of a Wheaties box.
That was written by Jefferson. Now, the original phrase that was written is the pursuit of life, liberty, and private property.
Yeah, but unless it makes it into the contract, it doesn't matter. But okay.
The idea here in America is that basically the foundation of happiness in life is being able to own a home, a piece of land, start a family, have private property, right? That's kind of a foundational element. It got changed over to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness later on, from private property to happiness.
Yeah, which seemed to be a higher... easier to establish. And also, if you put private property as a right in there, you have to give everybody some free ground, which is pretty commie.
But Jefferson...
I don't know why they wouldn't want to give everybody, just put in there everybody has the right to life, liberty, and a piece of property, and then have to live up to it. I can't imagine why they took that part out.
And it's thought that he understood the foundation of being able to have a happy, fruitful life is ownership of private property. It's one of the things that makes our country unique, but that is going away. And here's what I wanted to get at. The statement that my friend made, being a rental property head or a slumlord or whatever you want to call it, is it?
Yeah, I don't think it has to be like that. I don't know where you go from zero to slumlord. And also, some people don't live in an area and want to stay there forever. They need to rent because they're there for a short period of time, or they plan on going someplace else. So they don't want to buy and sell and that kind of stuff. It's not worth it.
Is immoral. It doesn't seem that way on the surface, but what do we see happening in our culture right now? In America,
apartment buildings are evil.
We see that essentially most of the single family homes, starter homes, for instance, are being owned or are owned by either individuals or corporations who have bought those starter homes up. And now you have single families, young families, or even old families who are going through some hard times, and there is no real estate available for them to purchase. I mean, I just bought a place not long ago, and
that I'm renting out to some ne'er-do-wells.
It has taken me 2 decades of work, hard work, and good decisions. And no big catastrophes in life, no medical emergencies, no losing my job, nobody getting sick or dying or nothing crazy like that. Pretty much everything's went well. It took me 2 decades to be able to buy a...
The dog heard that.
...property at today.
Excuse me, are you forgetting about the problem I had shitting in the living room for a while that you made a big deal out of?
market value for the real estate that is left available. And I know
He's a good boy. He's a good boy.
many young men who have just gotten married, and their number one concern is, how am I going to start a family? Because the cheapest home that I can buy in a decent neighborhood is $400,000 or $500,000. It's something to think about, and I think that this problem right here is really shaping the future of what America looks like.
Hey, real quick, why does your friend think it's immoral to own rental properties, but doesn't invest in building and selling homes? If he's got all this money sitting around, why doesn't he just pull a Pulte and build a bunch of fucking houses and then sell them? If that's the moral thing to do, get at it.
I do think that we are not far off from having a large majority of the country who is either renting or living in some home or in some place that they do not own, and that be it they're middle class or lower class, they will never have the opportunity to buy or purchase a home or private property because of the situation that's being created by, again, individuals who own multiple rental properties that should be starter homes for families, or corporations who are literally building entire developments, and instead of selling those homes, are keeping them and renting them out. Big problem. Big problem.
Is it a bigger problem than those houses weren't there in the first place? And also, are the people that are buying those alleged starter homes that are individuals, in theory, are they just going to keep them and rent them perpetually? They never intend to sell them or jettison them at any point. Again, if there's a company that's just building rental property after rental property, like basically apartment blocks of single family homes, wherever the fuck you are, doesn't that either drive down the value of the owned homes there? If there's that much property and the rental is cheaper, so it's cheaper to rent this house than to own it, and I can hang on to it. And even if I look at the insurance and the interest rate on my loan will over time be, more than if I rent it and they keep driving the rent up in this area.
What that creates is, what it's creating now is the only people who are able to own private property are people who have got a big head start.
Yeah, I got news for you. It's always been that way. Even if it was just Tom Cruise in whatever, was it Far and Away, running through the field trying to pick up a flag. He got a head start.
Not good. Not good. I did a podcast on homelessness the other day. I don't know if you guys know, but homelessness increased by 18% in 1 year here in the United States of America. And the biggest problem is housing.
In homelessness? Sure. I don't know. That never really occurred to me. Gee, so the biggest problem with homelessness is housing. Crazy. You figured this out all by yourself. That's amazing. You should have written a letter to somebody. If we'd have known this years ago, we wouldn't have had to have all that comic relief bullshit. Also, for the record, I agree. CSL, it's
not good.
Right.
I don't know if you guys are seeing this in your area, but when I grew up, I could purchase a home. At 18 years old, for me, I could purchase a home in a decent neighborhood for $100,000.
Where in the world is this decent neighborhood? And if you're saying out in the fucking sticks, well, yeah.
With some land with it.
Right. In the sticks. And by starter home, he means trailer.
Where you gonna find that anymore?
Amazon. Hold on. Do I have? You're gonna make me do this, aren't you? You're gonna fucking make me do this. Hold on. Oh, I can't open that thing. I've got to open a Safari. the safari. Let's go to let's see. Allow. Here you go. All right. Let's see. It's a 40-foot. What's it? Trying to go decent size. What's this one? Let's go to 25 custom models. Yeah. I guess this will deliver. Let's see. 5 left in stock. There you go. Cafe structure, warm reminder of a wide range of customizable options. Yeah. So here's let's go back to here. Obviously, some of these will be more expensive, but in case $100,000 was what it was making the case. This one's 33. This is on Amazon. This house is $33,000. $33,998. It'll be here by June 2nd. It's 3 shipping containers and all the other shit that you make the house out of in the shipping container. And you basically unpack it and assemble it, which will probably cost you, if you get a construction crew, and I guess maybe an extra $20,000 depending, right? And then if you're out in the sticks where he is, a plot of land for about $50K. He's out in the holler, right? What's up, liberal Dan? Good to see you. So, my biggest question, again, which is still there, there's only 5 of these left in stock, so you better move fast. And that's, it's as big as a condo you're going to find anywhere, right? Yeah, and land out in the sticks. If you're in Kentucky, Tennessee, people do that shit all the time. So, my uncle got a plot of land out in the middle of fucking nowhere outside of Nashville, and they built their house on it. Yeah, you're looking at about $100,000 total. That's what he was saying. That's his starter home when he was a kid. And by the way, do you think the starter home when he was a kid had the amenities that are in this thing? I'm just saying. You think it was that sound, the trailer he could buy? I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm also saying, like, this maggot voted for this asshole, and now he's, shocked that things are hard and kids are saddled with debt, the way Tucker was whining about it, when all they did was fight Biden on trying to get rid of student debt so that people would have the nest egg they would need if they did want to do something like that. Somebody said, get the $100 home assembly plan. Well, even this, like, if you got a welding, I've got an arc welder, and a couple of crazy friends, and you can go hunting around for rubble, like banisters and shit you don't mind making out of stuff. You can get 3 shipping containers and weld them together like this and shore them up with girders, and off you go. Yeah, shipping containers are cheaper if you have property. That's true. And then you have them delivered to that property and you take your time building the goddamn thing. Never mind the fact that you can buy one of these. Here, I'll show you another thing or whatever. Like, again, this isn't about how easy it is, but this weird kind of fantasy that this dude has that somehow, here you go. Hold on. That, he voted for Trump. The assumption that, God, it's so stupid. Let's see. I'm going to try to do these. Let's see. Let's see. Try to go. I'm going to raise the price. Whoops. There you go. Okay. Give me the whole thing, will you? There you go. At the very least. I'll go 3-bedroom. There we go. All right, and that's the plans. I want the actual place. Here, I'll show you another. Okay. the idea that here you go. Here's a 2-story one on eBay for 21,000. There's Impress Modular here. Let's see, Eco Home, prefab house plans. Let's see. So you get like, I'll give you an example. Here's the $9,000 modular homes that they have. There's a lady doing a video about it, and I'll show you this in a second. But this is fairly common these days, especially. You buy one of those on a piece of property, you have it delivered, it's already built. You live in that while you build the other one, which won't take long, but then you attach that or have it as a second thing on the property. And again, I think these days it would probably cost you 150 as opposed to 100 like he was saying. And this is the way shit's going to go, by the way. Modular and 3D printing for the home industry is the thing that's going to take off in the next couple of years. And the fact that, like, he voted for Trump, like, people are going to lose the American dream. I can't believe it. It's terrible how they aren't, people don't even know what's going to happen. Where is it? He's here. Yeah. My friend who made a bunch of money in chemicals thinks it's immoral to buy rental properties and rent them to people.
Capitalism. This is capitalism at its best, right? And I don't know a better system of economy. Like, I don't know a better system than capitalism. But capitalism is obviously not perfect, because for capitalism to be perfect.
Also, that's not capitalism. That's monopoly you're talking about.
Perfect, or to work long term, it would hinge upon people who get out there, who hustle, who get it done. It would hinge upon them getting to the point that they say, okay, I have enough for me and my family, and that's good.
Wait a minute. This asshole voted for Trump.
And I'm going to kind of...
Yeah, you can also see he's got a very nice house. Yeah, back there. Yeah, I noticed a bunch of people are noticing that. He's got a very manicured driveway, lawn, all that kind of stuff. He's usually, his truck's pointed another direction usually, and you can see like a shed in the background, so it makes him look all countrified. But look at the siding, the lights next to, like the lights next to the garage. My finger disappeared into his nose. Look out! I lost my finger in your beard.
Now go a different direction. Instead of, well, in the case that we're talking about, buying up 50, 75, 100, for some of these corporations, thousands of homes. And now families can't purchase private property in America.
Right. That's monopoly. That's not capitalism.
Unless you're wealthy. It really rubs a lot of people the wrong way when you
I got, again, if this guy wasn't a Trump voter, I think a bunch of us would be like, dude, I hear you. Yeah, this sucks. You're absolutely right. There are huge issues with this situation. Capitalism needs to be regulated. That's the part where the billionaires say, yeah, absolutely. We're talking about crony capitalism or just oligarchy, which is not capitalism.
To suggest that there is a scenario where people might have to choose morals over profit.
Why? Your friend is super rich. He couldn't just buy how about he just buys a bunch of those modular homes? Here's what your friend could do. Mr. Fucking, I don't rent places out to people who need places to live because it's not moral, because starter home shit or whatever. Here's a good idea. Why doesn't he just offer this to families? Hey, if you want to buy a piece of land, I'll gift you this little modular house. We'll get you a little 2-bedroom house, one for you and one for the first kid, and you guys can live in that. Would that be moral? What if he buys the land and just he invests in land so that the big companies can't build a bunch of rental properties on it, buys the land and then sells it in parcels. And then if you buy one of his parcels and you're a starter family and you just say, yeah, we just got our new baby and you qualify for his fucking baby fund, he'll gift you one of those fucking things for $9,000. Why is that weird? Oh, right. You voted for Trump and your buddy's a dick.
And that there should be some measure that you should determine for yourself when you have enough.
Sorry, you voted for a dude who just put a gold statue of himself in front of his fucking golf course. One of the 6, I think, he owns in the United States. What are you talking about?
I mean, I have no problem with someone having $1 billion. But do you not see that as a little ridiculous? Or billions of dollars?
Yes, I do. But if I had it, I would do nice things with it in ways that your buddy wouldn't.
Do you not? I'm just asking you. Do you not see that as a little bit?
A little bit? A little bit.
Ridiculous. And a lot of those people do good stuff for the world. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting them down. I have no problem with it. I just see, and you can look through history.
Oh God. It's just tiresome. I can't. Like, again, if this was just some random dude, but he supports Trump even still. And well, here's the thing. I don't think he overtly supports him anymore. I think he voted for him and he won't admit to regretting it out loud. I think he's exactly who you think he is in the voting booth. And I don't think he really gives a shit long term anyways. Like in that about the politics of it, it's just content for his fucking stream. But at some point, you gotta, like, the hypocrisy. Hold on. No one regulates Liberal Dan Rogers. Yeah, Liberal Dan, are you going to do a show after this? Should we raid you afterwards? Since I stuck around a couple of minutes. I don't know if you're doing it, but you can if you want to. Because we can do a raid in there. You know, pass on the love. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Stephanie says he's ignorant. I gotta say, yeah. I mean, the guy was, I believe, a Navy SEAL. Like, he's one of these dudes who risked his life and deserves gratitude for his service to the country. But to be this kind of like smoked and diluted by this nonsense it's bizarre to me. He's waking up to the finding out part. Yeah, I would guess so. Yeah, he's well beyond fuck around, right? And he's dealing with the fact that that the Trump crowd themselves. Hold on, I'm gonna squeeze this down in here real quick. That the Trump crowd, was selling something from day one, and it's amazing to me that they. Well, I mean, okay, it isn't, because I know why they can't put 2 and 2 together, because the people in their audience will attack them. This might be the new candidate for the most miserable person on the internet. Ouch. He's coming for your title, Greg Kelly. That's just sad. And we didn't even get to Nick Fuentes. Look at this shit. Hold on. Let's see if I can. Look, you want to see like the most miserable man on the internet? I mean, come on. Well, you're very welcome, Kelly, by the way. And don't forget, Super Chat's really great way to help the show. Also, Venmo, if you feel like it, buy me a cup of coffee. Great way to support the show and necessary, obviously. Here's Nick Fuentes. Look at his why is everyone attacking me? Casey Push blames Nick Fuentes. Loser Push blames Nick Fuentes. Dan Bilzerian. Nick Fuentes is a Fed. Please hate online. Pays him hundreds of thousands of dollars. Wall Street Journal. SPLC reports the rise of white nationalist influencers like Fuentes. Whatever. Anyways, just a big pile of of people shitting on it's boo fuckity who, I guess. But I don't care. I need a few minutes prep, but I'll be doing a show. Okay, gotcha. Well, let's see. Get at it. That's something. I just get something inflatable at this point, a party tent and a marijuana grow house. It's a growth industry. I'm just saying. Cool. Do you want to go on at like the half-hour point, Liberal Dan? We can kick it over to you. That'd be cool. You know, I like doing the handoff, trying to help out. Religion is a smile on a dog. Yeah. Edie Brickell and the old Bohemians. I do. There's an argument about whether or not it's a cult at this point, whether they're breaking away from it, whether they're capable of it. Because on the one hand, some people can't break away from the cult because they just can't psychologically do it. And other people can't break away from the cult because they're afraid the cult will fucking kill them. And it's hard to decide which one this guy belongs in, because he's a relatively tough dude. I mean, he's one of these like gun shooting channels a lot of the time. And so I don't think he'll have a lot of people coming after him in that regard. But I do think there's a fear that, and it might just be audience capture. There's a fear that they'll, the money will drop off, I guess, right? But yeah, excellent, cool. So, well, real quick, let's jump in and see what little Nicky is upset about. It's gonna be an ad in there. Nope. Oh, he doesn't get ads. That's right. Forgot.
So, I don't really know what is going on.
That's a lie.
I'm a little confused. Do I have a karmic debt? Like, what is going on? Like, seriously, did Palantir make the call? What is happening here? Because it is like for the past 2 weeks, I have been under this coordinated attack. Think about it.
I'd rather not, but I also don't.
All of a sudden, Jonathan Greenblatt goes on TV and says he's going to get every Groyper clipping account banned from Instagram. The Atlantic does a huge hit piece about how all my clips...
Yeah, he has salad fingers, it's true.
...need to be banned on Instagram. The Canadian
He's incredibly soy, considering what side of the aisle he's on.
Broadcasting company, State Media, shuts down Entropy, which is how I make the super chats. They literally fly out to Asia, and they do a big hit piece on my super chat platform. Washington Post does a giant, like 5,000 word hit piece on the super chats, invoking Christine from Ohio, talking trash about the show, all this other stuff. Then they do this.
Again, I don't know. Yeah, we're just reaching the find out part.
Skin suit conference this past weekend, where they bring in all the ops and all the turd worldists, mud slimes, left-wing filth, haters, e-girls, whatever.
Mud slime, turd world. Yeah, that's a skin color reference. Yeah, I can't imagine why newspapers would take a shit on your forehead.
And then, I don't know, today it's just like the bottom fell out. Everybody's attacking me today. And so I see all this stuff and I'm like, wow. They really don't want white people to vote Democrat. Is that what it is?
Okay.
Think about it.
I as a white person who votes Democrat, no, I don't think that's it.
Didn't even think that was the biggest taboo.
It's not at all.
There's some red lines you just can't cross, I guess. Lately, you can attack Jews all day long. That's totally in fashion. You can attack Israel. You can be racist. People don't even bat an eye when I say the N-word. Nobody even...
Yeah, they kind of do.
...cares.
The reason you think that is because you say it from the other side of a camera. I can't help but think of the Kentucky Fried Movie. Give that a try in public.
But you start to say...
Nick Fuentes, danger hunter.
I'm off the Republican plantation. I'm voting Democrat, and everybody loses their minds. Why? Because all that other stuff is according to their plan. Nick Fuentes is anti-Semitic, says the N-word. The Goyim are waking up. You know, that's all part of the plan. Nobody freaks out because all of that is predictable. All of that is a part of the plan. But you know, for the past 4 years, we've all been saying, hey, Republicans are not doing anything they promised to do.
Well, in their defense, they can't, because the things they promised you are impossibilities. They're ridiculous at their very base. There aren't enough people here to mass deport, no matter what you do. There's not going to be truckloads and train loads and boatloads and plane loads of people because 25 million people did not come into the country during Biden. Sorry for your fucking panic attack, but it's not true. So you can't deport people who aren't here. And certainly not millions and millions of asylum-seeking Hannibal Lecters that magically are just fucking invisible. Also, tariffs as a solution to affordability is insane. Saying you want to go back to the time of robber barons when the debt ratio for the country was on the backs of the average citizen and not on the moneymakers as income tax. Switching, and you're surprised that that's going to affect your ability to own a home and move out of your fucking mom's basement, dummy? Again, this is the FO part.
They're not deporting the illegals. They're not keeping us out of the
They can't. They aren't here.
war. They're giving Israel.
They never intended to.
Israel tens of billions of dollars.
He never said he wouldn't.
And the Republicans say, well, what are you going to do about it? Huh? What can you do? You've got no options. You've got nowhere to go. We're the only game in town. What are you going to do? Vote Democrat?
Yeah, but only because the economy does better when Democrats are in charge. Public works are always better when Democrats are in charge. All the shit you take for granted works better when Democrats are in charge. I mean, you can panic people about social shit that you don't even participate in, or maybe you do. But I think that's not your biggest problem, certainly. And if you look at the direction of the economy goes when a Democrat's in charge, you may not like the attitude or you may not like all the talk about our environmental consciousness or anti-cruelty to animals or treating your fellow human beings with a modicum of decency and respect, even if you don't like their quote-unquote lifestyle, you're still going to be better off.
And what happens when the Groypers, what happens when the Wang halves?
I don't even want to know what that means.
What happens when the white guy?
So you and all your friends have half a Wang each. That's sad.
Guys say, yeah, I'm thinking we are. I'm thinking we are going to vote Democrat. We are going to vote Democrat in the midterms. We are going to vote for Amy Acton in Ohio. Yeah, because fuck this Indian. Yeah.
Wow. See? This is where Republicans just don't even know how good they got it. Yeah, the Wang halves are not going to vote for Vivek Ramaswamy. That's what they mean. That's what he's talking about. He's going to talk. He'd rather vote for the white girl than the guy of color, even if that guy is on his side, which is interesting because it's kind of what they accuse Democrats of being this kind of like tokenist racist idea, except because they can't accept, I guess, the fact that the people that we're putting up, regardless of skin color, are qualified to do the job, whereas Republicans really believe in a form of tokenism. And if it doesn't qualify as tokenism in the case of somebody like Vivek Ramaswamy, where they're like, he's too smart, he'll think he owns the place. Right? Thank you so much, JD Christie.
Yes, we are voting for Amy Acton because fuck this Indian anchor baby.
Right? See, Republicans, he's still with you.
He's a literal anchor baby. You ran on mass deportations. You ran on ending birthright citizenship. And you're running an anchor baby, first gen Indian pharmaceutical billionaire who hates Americans for governor. And
Yeah. Yeah. So between you and me, folks, do you think the redistricting thing the Republicans are trying to pull is going to work? I don't either.
you're surprised when people say, yeah, this guy needs to lose. I'm going to help him lose. I'm going to vote for the Democrat. I'd rather have the lesser of two evils. Yeah, a Democrat is less bad than an anchor baby Republican. So
let me put on my considering the deeper issue face.
it seems like this is how I know it's the right move. You understand? When
this is the old, if I'm pissing off the right people, I must be doing something right. Everybody's angry at me. I must be doing something right. Like, yeah, everybody was angry at Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy. I don't think that's as big a save as you think it is.
You encounter the resistance, that is when you know you're doing the right thing. People say you're getting all this pushback. It's so provocative. It's so controversial. People are saying it's unthinkable. You're ruining everything. How could you do this? It's unthinkable.
Well, it could be. I mean, I don't care because fuck those guys and fuck you. But as far as their game plan, yeah, it's going to throw a monkey wrench in it. I can see why they'd be reacting that way. We have a similar problem on our side occasionally, and that's oftentimes the reaction. The difference is that in our case, only half of the people involved in it are awful. In your case, both are.
That's how you know we're exactly where we need to be. You are exactly where you need to be. Because honestly, this is the same kind of dynamic when I said not to vote for Trump. Remember that? All these people that are...
well, and technically, in Nick's defense, Trump is a person of color. We're just not sure what color it is. It's either the orange on his face that goes back to about his jawline, like a redneck chick at prom, or it's the two shades of color. He's a person of many colors. The 3 or 4 colors on the backs of each of his hands. God knows what fucking color his ankles are.
Are telling me not to vote Democrat. They were all pro-Trump in 2024, down to a man and woman. They were all saying, you can't sit this one out. What are we really going to have? Kamala, this is the most important election of our lifetimes. It's going to be a golden age. How could you remember?
Yes, I thought those people were insane, and I still do.
I remember.
All right, we're going to go over to Liberal Dan. Yeah, in 1 second.
I remember the exuberance of election night, people posting the jib-jab face swap of Vivek, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Tucker, and Trump, and Vance dancing to Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. And people said that was funny. People said that was a good meme. People said that we have all the energy, woke is dead. It's all the same people. They were behind then. They were 2 steps behind.
By the way, Tulsi is seen as not only a hidden Democrat, but a cultist as well, and a woman of color, and a follower of a Indian guru who's actually a white guy, I think, who took on a Paramahansa Yogananda kind of a name. And then Vivek as well in there. So it triggered a bunch of these dipshits.
And then they caught up and said, oh my gosh, you were so right. How were we so blind? We kneel. Trump was a Jewish puppet. They're 2 steps.
Yes, that's the problem with him.
Behind now. And now it takes them 3 weeks to say, why is he saying to vote Democrat? I don't get it. This is too complicated.
Yeah, it's not complicated. Although I would argue that maggots tend to be confused by very uncomplicated things. So it could very well just be that. I'm going to let you guys go. We're going to bounce over and raid Liberal Dan. If you could hit the like, share the show, share the clips, leave a comment on those kind of things. It would be great if you could super chat once in a while if it's possible at all, or patreon.com/HalSparks. Thank you for our new Patreon folks. Again, if I'm coming anywhere near you for a show, whether it's stand up or Nerd Halen, or other band stuff that I have in the pipeline over the next year. If I'm in your area and you're a Patreon subscriber, please come and be my guest and bring a guest with you on me, and as thankful to, and by the way, there also I've got the week after the Nerd Halen shows, I've got the Jam and a Flapper show as well. So there's a comedy show in there as well for you. So anyways, hit the like, share the show, all that stuff, and I will see you guys later on. And just, if you have a moment where you're like, oh, fuck, everything's crazy, and Trump thinks he's going to win all this stuff, and he's winning and hashtag winning, and he's going to get away with all of it, and nobody's going to stop him, and all this kind of stuff. Just think back to the clips that I've shown you specifically, and know that his own side is chewing his ass right now. Just saying. All right. Have fun at Liberal Dan. I will see you guys later. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else.
Keep a seat where the light won't reach. Whisper low so it sounds like peace. Lay your head, let the ceiling spin. You don't have to begin again. I've been here where the air goes thin. Saw what happens when you try to win. Better stay where the walls don't move. Nothing left that you have to prove. I pull you close till you forget what you wanted most. It's just the way of the world.